found the shed behind the pear trees. It's padlocked stiff with dust and paint. The keys were wrapped in grocery paper inside a box marked winter twine. One tooth of brass, a dull blue token. I turned the key and heard the melody answer like a nervous bell. No one came walking from the orchard. Still I felt the silence swell. Tin Keyring singing against my palm. Small bright weather in the dark. I did not come to claim a kingdom. I came to learn where to begin. Let the door give up its shadow. Let the old boards take me in. Tin Keyring, keep on sounding while I find the work within. Inside were jars without their labels, a rake, a hoe, a broken fan. The air held apples, oil and cedar, proof of some forgotten plan. I swept one path across the floorboard, set my city coat on a nail, and watched the first leaf fall. My hands had known the heat of kitchens, knives and orders, steam and flame. But this old shed asked for no answer, only that I stay and name. The keys grew warm against my fingers. The hill went quiet, roll by roll. I locked the door behind me gently, not to leave, but so I know. In the truck bed under folded blankets, at the box I never opened home, there was parsley in one pocket, salt ground deep into the seam. I wore those ties like borrowed armor for a table clock and dream.
Aprons in a cardboard box, farm gloves on the windowsill. One life taught me how to hurry, one is asking me be still. I can fold the black cloth neatly, I can let the old heat cool. Morning has a different service, and this orchard has its rules. Above my wrist, they smelled of leather, soil and rain. The mower coughed and stopped again. as if it knew I could not faint. No ticket printer spat a warning, no chef called time across the room. Only grass around the apple trunks and clover gathering bloom. I missed the noise for half a minute, then the birds began to fill every space the city rented with a clean and stubborn will. I am not ashamed of feeding people, I am not ashamed I lost that place. But a pen can hold a fever and a field can hold a face. I put the aprons in the love space, kept one button in my coat, then walked out past the loading ramp where the new day cleared its throat.
The notice waited under my wiper. Rain had made the corners curl. County seal, black date, blue ink, cold as any other world. Active use by first frost morning, or the lease will change its name. I read that line beside the driveway till the letters blurred with rain. The truck reflected low gray clouds, the orchard held its breath. I could hear the old pump knocking like a clock below the shed. Lease on the windshield, paper in the storm. You cannot tell a living place by how untended it has worn. Of weather and a hill that does not know my hands. Lease on the windshield, I will meet you with murder upon my plans. Ooh. I call the office from the porch steps, asked what proof I feel could give. The woman said, bring records, harvest, sure someone means to live. Her voice was kind but did not soften every rule I had to face. So I wrote the date on cardboard and nailed it by the gate. I had spent years chasing closing shifts, counting hours, counting tips. Now the calendar was nailed in wind and fate at farmers' lips. That night I marked each row on graph paper. The deadline stopped being a sentence and became a kind of map. That night I marked each row on graph paper. The deadline stopped being a sentence. trust the first rung and never cut against the grain. She left her ladder by the cider barn with a saw and a coffee stain. I set the feet in broken gravel, tested each rail with both my boots. Above me, dead limbs crossed the branches like old arguments at the roots. Ladder rungs 3, hold me steady. I am learning height by height. Not every fear deserves a doorway. Not every shadow means the night. If I can reach this winter branch and let it fall without a sound, maybe I can trust the ground below. Maybe I can stand my ground. The wind came sideways from the highway. My sleeve caught bark along the way. For one long second I saw the kitchen where I quit and walked away. Then I heard a woodpecker tapping somewhere past the eastern roads. I took the saw with both hands firmly, made the cut and watched it go. Struck earth with a small hard answer. Dust rose up around my shoe. Nothing in the orchard clapped for me, but the sky looked newly blue. I carried the ladder through the long grass, rust along its aluminium spine. 3 rungs up was not a mountain, but it changed the view in time. Oh, 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 oh. The mower died beside the south road with a cough of oil and smoke. I stood there pulling on the cord until my palms began to choke. Across the fence a yellow tractor moved like daylight through the ride. The man who drove it did not wait, he only watched me try and try. Yellow tractor across the field was slow enough for a cry to hear. I can make a mess of asking, I can make a joke of fear, but the grass is getting taller and the frost is drawing near. Yellow tractor across the field, bring your honest engine here. And can said fuel lines cracked and waited for me to answer like a man. I wanted every clever sentence, every proof that I belong. Instead I held the broken hose and said I've had it wrong. He nodded toward the apple branches, the trees don't care who talks the best. Give him water, give him patience, give your tired hands some rest. We patched the line with rubber tape, he showed me how the joke should sit, then drove away without a sermon, leaving diesel in the wind. The mower started on the third pull. Cut one clean length to waist high green. I saw the yellow tractor turning and raised my hand where he had been. The mower started on the third pull. Cut one clean lane through waist high green. I saw the yellow tractor turning and raise my hand where he had been. I found her car behind the flower tin, folded small beneath a spoon. 2 cups sugar, pinch of nutmeg, bake until the crust turns moon. The apples on the counter lean, bruised from last night's crooked rain. I cut around the soft brown places, kept the sweetness, left the stain. Recipe for windfall pie, make room for what the weather chose. Roll the dough with tired shoulders, let the cinnamon rise and close. Nothing perfect ever fed us, nothing whole escaped the ground. Recipe for windfall pie, turn the hurt to something warm. Her pencil marks were faint as roots beside the line for lemon peel. She had crossed out every fraction with the confidence of fear. I could see her at this table, sleeves roll high, radio low, calling neighbors by their first names, sending plates out through the snow. The oven light made gold of windows, made the empty kitchen kind. For a while the house stopped asking why I came or what I'd find. I burned the edge of one small crust and laughed before I could be sad. Then set the first slice on the sill for every good thing that I had. Rose above the chip pie dish, night pressed softly on the panes. I wrote her name beneath the recipe and tasted sugar, smoke, and rain. Tasted sugar, smoke, and rain. Before the sun cleared the grain silos, I heard the wings crack the morning air. Row 7 shook with black arrivals, every ripe red apple bear. They lifted from the branches laughing, or so the sound inside me said. I ran with pans and shouted nonsense while the birds rose overhead. Crows above row 7, take what you were built to take. I cannot guard the whole wide morning, I cannot make the weather break. Leave one apple for the basket, leave one lesson on the ground. Crows above row 7, circle once then carry on. I tied my old black apron to a pole, hung spoons from fishing line. The makeshift scarecrow leaned and rattled like a joke I called a sign. By noon the crows were back again, smarter than my kitchen art. So I picked the lower branches first and counted fruit by heart. Mara said a field is never tidy, not if something wants to live. You lose a little to the creatures, and you learn what you can give. I watched one crow on the fence post turn an apple in its claw, then fly across the empty pasture without asking for a law. At dusk, row 7 held its shadows, redskins scattered through the weeds. I swept them into a pail for cider and slept beside the open trees. Behind the smokehouse, nettles hid, an iron pump with peeling cream. The handle would not move an inch, the spout was dry and rusted clean. I cleared the roots around its base, found a bolt beneath the clay, then worked the wrench until my knuckles learn another kind of day. Well, behind the smokehouse, give me one clear sign below. I've carried city water, I've paid for every flow. Now the ground is keeping something older than the words I know. Well, behind the smokehouse, tell me where the deep things go. Groaned and gave a little. Air came sputtering through the pipe. I pumped until my shoulders burned, until a silver thread grew bright. The bucket filled with cold, clean water made a mirror at my feet. I I saw my face beside the roofline, tired, muddy, incomplete. No message rose up from the darkness, no hand reached through the well. Only water, plain and useful, only work that work out well. I wash the dirt from every finger, let the drops fall through the grass. Some answers to my need, a story. Some are right because you asked. I carry 2 full pails uphill, one for the trees, one for the sink. Each step made the handles answer, each breath gave me time to think. Well, behind the smokehouse, give me one clear shine below. I have carried city water, I have paid for every flow. Now the ground is keeping something older than the words I know. I drove 3 jars beneath the blanket to the market by the square. Other growers filled their awnings with laid peaches, beans, and pears. Mine were apple jam and labels written crooked in blue pen. I set them on a folding table, then forgot what I should say. Saturday market, empty table, morning moving down the lane. I brought what I could carry and a little bit of shame. If no one stops to taste it, I will still come back again. Saturday market, empty table, oh, teach me how to stand. A woman bought a jar for 5 coins, said her mother liked the spice. I gave her change too slowly, then she smiled and paid me twice. By noon the shade had shifted, cast a cardboard sign I made. 2 more jars had found their owners, free remain in quiet shade. I used to call a full room victory and an empty room defeat. Now I watched a child lick jam from one small wooden spoon. Mara passed with bags of carrots, said save 1 jar for next week. The valley does not learn a name until it hears you speak. I tacked the table after closing with the sun across the street. The jars that stayed were not a verdict, they were something I could keep. Myra brought her red shears early, set them on the tailgate rail, said this branch is reaching inward, that is why it will not fry. I asked her where to make the cut. She touched the bark above the bud, not too close and not too distant. Leave the tree away to heal. Mara's pruning shears right against the winter bark, cut the branch that blocks the daylight, not the piece that made its mark. I have held on to every failure like a tool I had to keep. Mara's pruning shears show me what to leave. We moved in silence down the road, small clean snaps beneath the sky. Every fallen twig looks certain once it rested in the grass. She told me how her father planted half these trees before the road, how he measured rain in jam jars, how he hated being old. I thought advice would sound like thunder, but it came in patient cuts, in a hand that knew the seasons, and a coat with muddy cuffs. At lunch she sharpened both the blades on the stone beside the gate. The sound was thin and steady, like a promise without weight. I took the shears when she was leaving, held them out beneath the sun, then cut one crossing branch myself and saw the road become more open. Smoke climbed beyond the grain elevator, thin at first, then dark and wide. Every porch radio was speaking the dry wind from the west. I stood among the unpicked apples, with a hose beneath my boot, thinking how a season balances on the smallest strip of blue. Smoke on the ridgeline, do not turn this field to ash. I have barely learned the names here, barely let the old days pass. If the wind can change my evening, let it change before it burns. Smoke on the ridgeline, leave me something to return. Mara called from a yellow tractor, said the fire was 2 towns south. Still she filled the tanks with water, still she checked each open mouth. We cleared the grass along the fence line, moved the dry crates from the barn. Nobody said the word disaster, but we worked beneath its arm. The orchard smelled of hot green leaves and meadow warming in the sun. I saw how quickly peace becomes the work that must be done. At midnight, lightning split the distance. Rain came hard against the drive. The radio said crews were holding, and I heard the valley breathe. By dawn, the smoke was only silver. At the farthest edge of land, I poured the last cold water slowly over roots beneath my Under the cider press I found it, green cloth cover cracked with age. Every page held dates in baskets, names in pencil, line by line. Mrs. Bell, 2 sacks for winter. Jonah Reed, pie for school. Coffee for the road crew Sundays. Apples for the churchyard meal. Harvest ledger, open pages, show me what the orchard knew. Not a fence around the fortune, but a dozen ways to give. Every name beneath her pencil makes the empty rows feel full. Harvest ledger, keep me honest, teach my hands your rule. There were notes beside the totals, rain delayed or baby born. Leave the bruised fruit by the gate post for beer before the storm. I had thought she kept this hillside like a secret, like a claim. Now I saw the valley moving through the ink beside each name. The room was quiet except the rafters and the flies against the pane. I felt the weight of all those seasons without knowing where to place it. I copied every name at midnight onto paper clean and white, then wrote one blank line at the bottom for the work of next July. The ledger closed beneath my fingers, but the story would not end. Outside the apples held the moonlight, like a table set for friends. Ever met me by the lower pasture, with a survey map beneath his arm? Said the old fence wandered eastward, said my trees had crossed the mark. His boot pressed hard beside the stake, his jaw was set against the rain. I saw my own old anger rising like a match inside a tin. Fence line argument, one crooked stake in borrowed ground. I could make a war of inches, I could burn the whole thing down, but the roots have grown together under every word we throw. Fence line argument, tell me what I need to know. He said his father bought that strip before the highway changed the town. I said my grandmother planted there when his family still came round. The fence leaned like a tired witness, wire loose between the posts. Neither map could hold the summer, neither mouth could name the loss. Mara came with coffee steaming, read the paper, looked around, said measure it when 10%, not when thunder shakes the ground. We drove a new state for the moment, left the old one where it lay, then watched the stormy erase our footprints before we walked away. That night I marked the rows in pencil, not as mine but as they stood. One line can guard a boundary or keep out something good. Fence line argument, one crooked stake in borrowed ground. I could make a war of inches, I could burn the whole thing down, but the roots have grown together under any word we throw. Fence line argument, tell me what I need to know. Rain arrived before the weather warning, hit the porch screen after dark. I ran between the loaded bins with tarps that tore along the yard. The first picked apples filled with water, redskins knocking in the blue. Every careful arrow sorting was a thing the storm came through. Rain in the picking bins, drum your silver on the wood. I was counting every apple like a careful man should. Now the night is taking numbers and the crates are running deep. Rain in the picking bin, teach me what I cannot keep. Heaven's truck came down the lane, no map this time, no measuring chain. He helped me drag the bins beneath the roof beside the grain. We did not solve the fence line matter. We did not speak of who was right. But he held one end of canvas while I tied it through the night. Water found the smallest opening. Wind found every loosened knot. Still we saved the fruit we could and left the rest to ride it down. The storm had sped its anger. Clouds were torn above the hill. One bin held apples fit for cider. One held rainwater clear and still. I tipped that water at the tree roots, washed it dark and thirsty ground. Laws can leave a different use when you turn it slowly round. The buyer came in polished boots with a check inside a leather case. He said the storm had made things simple, said I could leave with grace. He named a number for the orchard, for the shed, the rose, the well, then waited by the kitchen doorway like he knew the answer well. Cheap offer on the table, white paper, easy road. You can buy a broken season, you cannot buy the load of every name inside the ledger, every meal the branches gave. Cheap offer on the table, I will not sell the grave. I thought about the rent I owe, the kitchen job that would not call, the truck with its tight transmission, and the roof beyond the hall. His money had the sound of sleep, of waking with no fear. But through the open window came the pump I learned to hear. I told him I would need a day. He folded up the check, said frost will come regardless, and left his card beside the bread. That evening Evan crossed the pasture, brought a survey stake and light. He said, I heard about the offer. I said, I heard you might. We stood beneath the bruised trees with nothing settled, nothing said. But neither one of us walked off before the moon was overhead. I put the card beneath the ledger, let both papers share the drawer, then locked the kitchen after midnight and checked the orchard door. cheap offer on the table. White paper, easy roll. You can buy a broken season, you cannot buy the load. Oh, ooh, ooh. 5 Pails waited by the gate before the sun had cleared the hill. Myra brought them in her truck bed. Evan brought 2 more from his shed. Then people came with gloves and ladders, names from every ledger page. I tried to find a speech to give, but the morning turned the page. 5 Pails at sunrise, silver circles in the grass. I thought I had to save this orchard with my own 2 hands at last. Now the handles ring together, now the rows are full of feet. 5 Pails at sunrise make the heavy work complete. Mrs. Bell took rowing slowly, Jonah climbed the lower limbs. Children gathered windfall apples, laughing when a basket tipped. Evan set the bins in order, Mara checked the weather band. I moved between them with a clipboard, trying hard to understand. No one asked me for permission to care for what was here. They only asked which roads were ready and whether lunch was near. At noon I brought out Windfall Pie on plates that did not match. The orchard sounded like a kitchen full of talk and moving hands. I heard my grandmother's old table in the rhythm of the crates, and knew a gate can be a question or an answer when it waits. 5 Pails stood empty at sundown. Beside 5 more we filled. I washed them clean beside the pump and left them by the hill. At sundown.
5 Pails stood empty at sundown.
Beside 5 more we filled.
Beside 5 more we filled.
I washed them clean beside the pump.
I washed them clean beside the pump
and left them by the hill. Green Bramleys filled the lower branches, hard and bright against the leaves. Children reach from wooden ladders, calling every apple by a name. I carried crates along the grass path, past the pump and painted shed. Every hand that passed me fruit made the orchard feel less dead. Hands full of Bramleys, sharp green weight against the chest. No one harvests all the branches, no one carries all the rest. Pass the fruit along the line, let the basket find the ground. Hands full of Bramleys make a living sound. Evan worked the farthest row, his shirt was wet with morning rain. When a branch caught on his sleeve, I climbed up to free it again. He said the fence could wait till winter. I said winter had its say. Then we laughed at how the apples kept us talking anyway. The tally board grew full of numbers, but the number I could trust was the count of brutes beside me. Ton of soil and summer dust. Mara held the fruit up to the sun, said this one will make good sauce. I thought of all the things called ruin that had never reached their use. That evening every basket leaned in rows beside the barn. My hands were cut and sticky sweet, my arms were tired and worn.
Cider press from storage, oak wood wheels across the floor. Its iron crank had held its silence since the year before the road. Heaven washed the wooden slats, Mara sorted skins from seeds. I fed the bruised fruit through the hopper, listening to the old machine. Turn the cider press slowly, let the golden river run. What was fallen, what was battered, finds a sweeter work when done. Turn the cider press slowly, hear the barn boys answer back. There is music in the pressure, there is light inside the crack. The first clear stream filled a bucket, then the smell went through the door. Sharp as rain and bright as mornings we had not yet lived before. Children dipped their cups in foam, old men argued over years. Someone started tapping spoons so near. I thought our song would need a stage or a room prepared to listen, but the crank kept time beneath my hand and every voice was working. My grandmother's picture hung nearby, crooked over the shelf. I raised one cup beneath the frame, then drank to everyone else. When the last crushed pulp was carried out, the barn was amber, wet and warm. I locked the press without its cover for the next hands after mine. Turn the cider press slowly, let the golden river run. What was falling, what was batter, finds a sweeter work when done. Turn the cider press slowly, hear the barn boards answer back. There is music in the pressure, there is light inside the crack. We set the table under pear trees with a cloth patch blue and red. Plates came from 6 different kitchens, candles in all jars instead. The press still scented all the barn air, night insects stitched the dark. I counted chairs, then stopped myself when strangers filled the yard. The table and the pear trees, long enough for one more name. I used to think belonging meant that every place stayed same. Now the plates are never matching, now the stories cross and bend. A table under pear trees leaves a space for fans. Mrs. Bell brought onion bread, Jonah brought a weathered fiddle. Evan set down his father's map, folded small beside the middle. He said the fence can wait till spring. I said then spring can wait for us. We raised our cups to useful rain and to the work that made us trust. I feared this kindness had an ending, like a market closing bell. But nobody hurried from the table when the moon rose through the smell. Mara asked what I would plant next year. I looked beyond the candle smoke, said maybe pears along the driveway, maybe something that can grow. The last chair scraped across the grass, the last jar guttered low. I left the table standing overnight so dawn would see it too. Hey! found the tin behind the flower sacks, random green beneath the shelf. Beans were rattling in a paper packet and a letter to myself. Her hand was small across the envelope, though she had been gone for years. I read it by the lantern slowly, stopping where the ink grew thin. Letter in the seed tin, folded where the spring things sleep. You yoked, keep the gate unfastened, keep enough to plant and keep. Land is not a prize for winning, it is work you pass along. Letter in the seed tin, tell me where I belong. She wrote of storms and short harvests, of the neighbor's borrowed horse, of feeding people without asking who had earned the food the most. She wrote, a tree will take its season, do not pull it by the leaf. I held that line beside the window like a remedy for grief. The buyer's card was in the drawer, the check was in my mind, but every word inside her letter opened something I could find. I carried the tin out at sunrise, buried beans beside the wall, then called the buyer from the porch steps, said the orchard is not for sale. The seed tin sat beside the ledger, both were lighter than before. I left the kitchen gate unlatched and listened for the door. Radio called for a frost before the morning light. I heard it through the open kitchen while the dishes dried and lay. Young trees stood along the driveway, thin as promises in rain. I counted blankets in the hallway, then called every name again. First frost warning, hold the ground. White breath waiting in the dark. We have carried water all summer. We have learned each root and mark. If the cold comes down the valley, let it find us standing near. First frost warning, ring the night. We are here. Heaven brought his truck at 10. Mara brought wool from the shed. Jonah tied the lantern strings between the youngest rows instead. We moved like peat gold in a story no one needed to explain. Hands found nuts in blanket corners, boots found paths through frozen rain. The orchard held 100 small signs, fabric snapping, branches bent. Every breath became a signal of the care that evening meant.
while the valley stood with me. Near dawn the stars were hard and clear, the grass went white below. We waited for the sun together and watched the first light grow. And watch the first light grow. We spread old blankets over saplings, wool across the slender arms. Some were patched with faded squares, some still smelled of other farms. Heaven held the lantern higher, Mara tucked the corners down. I moved through frost along the driveway like I finally knew this ground. Blankets over young trees, silver morning, hold your breath. No one grows by being guarded. From each measure of the weather, but a hand can't keep the worst cold from the tender roots below. Blankets over young trees teach me how to grow. The youngest child fell half asleep against her father's heavy coat. Jonah hummed a broken fiddle tune to keep the fingers moving warm. I brought coffee from the kitchen, passed it down the lantern light. Nobody called the work heroic, we just stayed until sunrise. I used to make a wall around me, call it strength and call it home. Now I watched the blanket settle and understood I was not alone. When frost began to melt at noon, each covered branch shone bright. We lifted wool and found green leaves still holding to the light. I folded every blanket slowly, kept one draped across the rail. For the next cold night that found us and the hands that would prevail. Some will spread old blankets, hill or sapling, some knoll across the sling. Like I finally knew this ground. A boppy just a hill to wing height. Me I coffee from the kitchen, passed it down the lantern line. Nobody called the work heroic, we just stayed until sunrise. First light I found a chain there, cold around the orchard gate. It had kept the road from entering, it had kept me standing late. Evan brought the wrench beside me. Myra watched from down the lane. I could hear the hinges waiting for a hand to turn again. Gate hinges singing, rust and daylight in the air. I have guarded what I love, as if love were only fear. Open toward the valley road, open toward the passing sun. Gate hinges singing, let the next life come. The first bolt fog beneath the weather, then it loosened with a cry. I pulled the chain across the gravel, watched the gates swing wide. Nothing changed about the apples, nothing changed about the hill, but the road could see the orchard, and the orchard could be still. I thought of every locked room, every word I did not say. How a door can keep a danger, or keep a welcome away. We hung a sign beside the entrance. Pick a basket, leave a name. Take what feeds you, bring a story. Come back when the season changes. The hinges answered in the sunlight with a thin familiar sound, like the land itself was learning how to meet the open ground. Frost lay white across the lower rows. Before the pots began to steam, we set the last long table by the barn under a waking sky. Mrs. Bell cut pie in careful squares. Jonah tuned one open string. Children ran between the pear trees with their mittened hands held high. Pie at the first frost, warmth against the morning cold. Every season leaves a question, every answer must be told. Take a slice and pull up closer, there's room beside the flame. Pie at the first frost, let the valley know your name. I carried cups upside around the table, saw the gate swing in the breeze. Evan's map lay folded by the bread, no line between the trees. Mara raised a spoon above her bowl, said, next year we plan again. I looked across the open orchard and believed her then. The work was not a finished story, the roof would need repair. But morning found the land still living, and the people gathered there. I placed my grandmother's ledger on a table near the pie, wrote the date beneath the last old name, and left the fast line white. Begin to shine. Not a promise without ending, just a place to tend in time. High at the first, warmth against the morning cold. Every season leaves a question, every answer must be cold. Take a slice and pull up closer. There is room beside the flame. High at the first frost, let the valley know